you have to start the show with Charles' favorite phrase. First of all,
okay, listen. I want to apologize in advance for cursing, but I gotta say this with conviction, and I want to get my point across. What the f***? Listen, man. These black men out here who are being anti-Semitic, this got to stop, man. Listen, Deshaun Jackson, Steven Jackson, Nick Cannon, Ice Cube, man, what the hell are y'all doing? Like, y'all want racial equality. We all do. I don't understand how insulting another group helps our cause. I don't understand in any shape or form. And the only person called y'all on it was Kareem. Kareem, who I admire and respect, is the only guy who said anything. Like, all these people who went crazy at Drew Brees when he said something about the flag, everybody went in him. Nobody's saying anything now. We can't allow black people to be prejudiced also, especially if we're asking for white folks to respect us, give us economic opportunity, and things like that. I'm so disappointed. I'm so disappointed in these men. Like, if you want respect, you got to give respect. But I don't understand how you beat hatred with more hatred. I just don't understand that at all. And these lightweight, flimsy apologies, I don't like them either, because I think sometimes when you say stuff like that, you really mean it. You just got people called you on it. But I don't understand how they can be in your vocabulary and in your heart. I don't understand that at all. That stuff should never come up in your vocabulary, and it should never come up in your heart. I don't understand it. I'm never gonna accept it. And I'm asking you guys, I'm begging you guys, man. You guys are famous, you got a platform, but I don't understand how you can fight hatred with more hatred. And I'm disappointed in you guys. We gotta do better, man. You can't ask white folks to respect us if you're gonna use hatred toward them. And I'm just, please do better, guys. I ain't never gonna say something bad about another ethnic group. Never, ever. That's not in my heart. That's not in my soul. That's not in my DNA. I just don't understand it. And especially at a time when you are asking people to respect black people, that black lives matter. You know, we're going to, this whole George Floyd thing and stuff like that has opened up a great dialogue to some of the problems in the black community. And to, instead of trying to engage and find allies, we're just trying to alienate more people. I've talked about it before. I want allies. I don't want to alienate anybody.
we welcome you back to the Steam Room, the second most popular podcast in the history of media. I haven't updated those numbers lately, Charles, but I think they still apply. And
we're gaining on number one, though, Ernie.
Yeah, and I think we're fixing to get a real spike in the number of subscriptions because we welcome a special guest, and as always, we encourage our guests to keep the towel on here in the Steam Room. And look at this one. This towel has a University of Kentucky logo. It's got Washington Bullets. Wow, that's an old school Steam Room towel. It's Rex Chapman, ladies and gentlemen, joining us on the Steam Room. Rex, how are you, kid?
My guys, there's a little Kentucky logo on there as well.
Yeah. There's
UK
a
logo.
Charlotte. There's a Charlotte logo.
Phoenix Suns.
Phoenix, yeah.
My guys, thanks for having me. This is great.
Hey, it's our pleasure. You know what, Rex? You know, because I mean, obviously, you and Chuck have known each other for a long time, and I've known you for a long time, and you've spent some time over there in the studio at NBA TV hanging out, and we've crossed paths there. And I got to tell you something, man. I saw I believe it was an E60. Wasn't it an E60 that profiled you and kind of took us from through your career and, you know, highs and lows and that kind of thing? And it was awesome. And I knew back right then when I was watching that, I was like, man, that story's good for your soul, because it's a redemption story, and it's a, you know, I can look at you now at you're 52 years old and say, well done, man. Way to get it back.
Thanks, Ernie. Really. You know, and Chuck, I've known you since I was a teenager. I was hoping I would get to play for you my first few years, or play with you my first few years in Philly. Chuck came to he was a Nike guy. I was a Converse guy. He came to speak to my camp in little Owensboro, Kentucky. Right. We barely even knew each other. So we go back like that. And he also knows, as you probably do too, I was never a party guy. I wasn't a guy that, I didn't feel like I could go out and drink at night all the time and play the next day. I wasn't that kind of, I wasn't a smoker. I wasn't a drinker. And my last 3 years I had 7 orthopedic surgeries. And right at the end of my final year in 2000, doctor gave me a prescription for OxyContin. And I took that medication, and I'd had painkillers in the past after surgery, but I'd always gotten off very quickly, wanted to know how I felt. That doctor gave me that OxyContin, and I was in love. I really was. I felt the main thing that it did for me, I've always been a little socially awkward around people I don't really know. And you know how it is. You guys get people coming up to you all the time that you don't know, and they're going to talk about basketball or whatever they see you on TV talking about or doing. And all of a sudden, I took that medication. People would come up to me. It was like my guard was down. I felt nicer. I felt nicer to people, so that was alluring. I felt kinder. I felt smarter. I felt like a better dad and a better husband, and it's all just a lie. Very quickly, I was in rehab, and I've tried to build back from there, but it took a long time back, and I can't thank you guys enough for all the love and support both of you guys have given me, you know, heck, for most of my life now.
You know, Rex, when I was reaching out to you, I mean, you know the story about my brother who passed away.
I do.
And I always tell people, man, you hope people reach out to you, because you don't know how many friends you got, especially when you're famous.
Yeah.
You know, because I tell people, you don't know who's your friend or who just like you because you Rex Chapman or Charles Barkley or Ernie Johnson. And I want to make sure that I reached out to you when things were going bad, because I wanted you to know you weren't alone. Because I tell people, one reason I came to your camp way, way, way back, you're just a good dude.
Oh.
So you know, what was the low point for you?
Man, it seemed like there were so many of them, but from about 2001, 2000 to about 2014, I was in, you know, you knew I had some issues with some pain medicine, but you didn't really know, you know, I didn't really keep it a secret from people. I'd been in rehab, I guess I ended up there 3 times over 13 or 14 years. But yeah, I got arrested in Phoenix, man. I'd gotten divorced. You know, small kids, all kids at the time were under 18. And it's insane thinking that you have. And I got arrested in Phoenix for shoplifting at an Apple store. And when I say that, it still makes me want to cry, because I can't believe it. I just can't believe it. It's me. A lot of guilt, a lot of shame that goes along with it. But at that point, man, I knew something had to change. I was going to die. I was, at some point, I wasn't going to, I think my only real saving grace is once people can't buy pills anymore, they go to a needle. And I never did. I guess that was sort of my walkaway point. But I know this: had something not happened to me to jar me and get me to go, hey, you got to get a hold of this. I think I would have I probably wouldn't be here right now, because it's taken you guys, it's taken love and support and so many friends and family. Hell, I lived on a couple people's couches out in LA for a couple years. I lived in my car for a few days. So it's been, but that's it. That was it. And the guilt, the shame I felt over it, that I still feel over it, letting people down, letting myself down, letting my kids down. I just tried to dedicate the last 5 years to doing the next right thing, showing my kids a better me, and you know, trying to think more about others and less about myself, but I'm still pretty selfish.
Rex, it's, you know, I do want to move on, and I will in a second on this, because I love what you're doing on social media these days. But I just think it's such a valuable story that you tell, and you're so transparent when you tell it. And I think I can't even imagine the number of people who are listening to this who are saying, man, I needed to hear this, because you're not the Lone Ranger, man. And so
I appreciate it.
when you're going through that, and the thing about, you know, the thing about the Apple Store thing, it's like there's video. And so,
Yeah.
I mean,
I've never watched it. I just can't.
Yeah. I wondered if you had, and then I wondered what were the reactions you were getting, and did you think, you know, in the old Jimmy Buffett line, did you think you had pissed it all away at this point?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll never forget sitting in rehab about 10 days later in Louisville, Kentucky, and our guy John Lucas flew in from Houston, and he sat with me for a minute. Rick Pitino came, talked to me. Both those guys gave me a couple really, really good bits of advice. I looked at John, and at this point, I'm wanting to get out of rehab and get back home and see my kids and all that. And I looked at him. He said, when you leave here, you need to come out and stay with me for a few months in Houston. And I said, how long? He said, as long as it takes. And I was like, oh, man. And I've known him, again, since he's David Falk. We go back, you know, forever. And then Rick Pitino came over and sat with me. And Rick told me something. And Rick's been through his stuff, man. And he said, listen. And I was crying. And I was like, I'm toxic. Nobody will ever, I can't work. It's over. And he said, listen, get through this stage and just know over the next few years, you're going to eat a lot of. He said, at first it's going to feel like it's the size of a beach ball. You keep doing the next right thing, it's going to go down. It's going to be the size of a basketball. And then it's going to be the size of a softball and a baseball and a ping pong ball. And then it's going to, if you keep doing the next right thing. And for whatever reason, it stuck with me, and it helped me get through those, you know, early days.
Things are bad, but if you keep doing the right thing, they will keep getting better. That's all you can do.
Yeah, you're not as bad as your worst moment if you learn from it. You know, I think that's applicable to all of us. I'll say one thing. You know, we get a lot of love from people and whatnot, and I just kind of walk through my day sometimes still, just kind of in a daze. This has happened about 6 months ago. I just wanted to tell you this. It gave me one of the best feelings I've had in some time. I was kind of in my head, and I was going to work out, and I was going to the gym. And when I go to the gym, we don't want to talk. You don't want to talk to people.
Yeah.
And so I just had my head down, and this kid behind the counter, probably 25 years old, he looked at me when I walked in, and I kind of had my head down, headphones in like an asshole. And he said, hey, are you Rex? And I went, yeah. And I kind of went on in, didn't really spend much any time. I just kind of flew right past the kid. I came back out, and he said, hey, Mr. Chapman. I said, yeah. And he goes, I'm sorry to bother you. I just wanted to tell you, you spoke at a place where my dad was in rehab about 6 months ago, and he's out, and he's never been better. I'm so happy. You said a couple things that, oh my God. And I just hugged him. I don't know the kid. I just hugged him and started crying. I said, hey, thank you for telling me that. I mean, I didn't want to hear it to begin with. Right. I dismissed it. And then he wanted to tell me something to make me feel good. It was amazing.
Frightening proposition, but it's also an exhilarating proposition that you can turn somebody's day or life around. And you're doing that now on a daily basis. I don't know how this all started with you and Twitter and your positive message that you're putting out, or good, here are good deeds I'm going to share with you.
Right.
Here's an adorable kid I'm going to share. Dogs, bruh, all this stuff, block or charge. And it's just so, it's so good because it's so different from the vitriolic stuff that you see on there where people try to eviscerate one another. They try their A game at comedy at somebody's expense. And all I'm seeing from you, Rex, is like, hey, check this out, man. This is really good. This will brighten your day. How did this all get started?
Guys, it is so dumb. All of it is so crazy. I am that guy who can get snarky and vitriolic and all that. And I found myself getting that way about a year and a half ago, online, social media, Twitter, politically. I was so caught up in the toxicity of all of it, and I want it off. But as you guys know, doing what we do, you kind of need a little bit of a social media presence these days.
Unless you're Charles.
And yeah, except for Chuck. Yeah, just one day out of nowhere, saw a video of a dolphin school of dolphins swimming into shore, and a guy paddleboarding out, and the dolphin jumped up, hit the guy in the chest, and I said exactly, that's a fucking charge. And I just tweeted it out. People thought it was whatever. And of course, you're just doing that. However many followers, you're just trying to get a few people that know basketball to acknowledge that. And then that just took off. So it took all the pressure off. It's great. I don't have to be snarky and all that stuff. I can let the people who are really smart do all that stuff. And you put out the dog. I've had a dog every day of my life, I think. I love them to death. Who doesn't love a dog? And then, yeah, especially right now, guys, people are scared. Hell, I'm scared. I don't know what's coming. We think we might watch basketball in a little bit. Well, stay tuned. I still hope that's not a pipe dream, but people are scared. And I think right now, if you can do something to put a smile on somebody's face, take their mind off of the world for a minute or two, and see a little good in somebody, kind of recalibrate yourself each day, I think that's got to be a good thing.
I told you, I've been in the NBA for 30 years. Only one player was good enough out of high school to make a difference, and that was LeBron James. As great as Kobe Bryant was,
KG,
Kevin Garnett,
Jermaine
all
O'Neal,
those guys really struggled their first few years in the NBA, and they're the best to ever do it. Now we're just taking any kid who's quote unquote highly ranked and say, go to the G League. I don't like that at all, and it's unfortunate.
Chuck, Ernie, I was the youngest player my rookie year. I left 2 years early out of Kentucky. And Chuck, you remember how bad I was at first? Like I think I shot my first 3 or 4 months in the league, I shot like 35%. I was bad. I hadn't had as many reps as you guys had. I couldn't shoot it as well as Rolando Blackman and every other, professional two guard. I was young and but beyond that, at least athletically, I could keep up. Socially, I was also young. Hell, Sonia and Dell, Stephen was born my rookie year. They lived 2 doors down. Muggsy lived right around the corner in a little apartment complex. Sonia would come over to do my laundry because I didn't know how to do laundry. And she came in one day. I'll never forget this. She came in one day and just started cracking up laughing because we'd been on a road trip. There was clothes everywhere, but I had gone, because I couldn't do laundry, I'd gone and bought like 60 pair of new underwear. So I was just wearing a new pair of underwear every day. And I'm the team's first round draft pick.
Well, good. I'm covered for the first 2 months of the season.
Yeah, I got it.
Great.
Yeah.
I'm going to do the wash at All-Star break.
Hey Ernie, hey, listen. We all been there and done that. I ain't gonna lie. Hey, they're like, I remember I ruined so many clothes my first couple of years. I'm like, you just throw everything in there, whites, colors,
Hey,
and that's all. Like people don't understand. Like, wait, you're supposed to separate. I called my mom one time. I says, my clothes keep getting ruined. She says, what's going on? She says, I said, my whites they're kind of got different colors on. She says, you are separating the colors, right? I says, what do you mean? She says, I says, Mom, you just throw everything in the washing machine. You don't worry about all that stuff. She said, son, you're dumber than rocks. You separate the colors from the whites. And I said, oh, maybe that was my issue. But that's stuff you have to learn, Ernie. I mean, think about it. I mean, how many young kids know how, like, their mom washed all their clothes when they're in high school. Very few kids. And in college, they do all your washing all your stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy.
We all go through that stuff when we get out on our own, man. I remember learning how to iron my shirts on a sofa in Macon, Georgia, when I'm anchoring the news down there, because I didn't have a ironing board, and then you leave the stinking iron on the back of the shirt for a second. You go into work, you got the imprint of an iron on your back, man. It's like,
that's great.
Hey, listen, Ernie, listen. In college, you share the rooms with like 4 suites. You got a bathroom, and there's like 4 different suites. And all of a sudden, steam started coming through your door, under your door. You're like, what the hell is going on in there? And it's the guys they just turned the hot shower on, and that's how they were ironing their clothes, because nobody had them on. They just hung it. Yeah, everybody just hangs up their stuff in the bathroom and turn the hot water on for about an hour and a half to 2 hours, talking about water shortages in the world.
That's better than those guys at Georgia with me who only took brute showers. Put some of that brute up now and there, it's good to go.
Hey, listen, Ernie. Listen. I've taken many ghetto showers. I'm not gonna lie about that. Hey, I've taken many ghetto showers. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, we all have.
Hey, Rex Chapman, this has been some awesome time, and I'll say this: my wife Cheryl Ann Chuckster knows her; she's a saint, but she spent part of her working career trying to help folks who were addicted. She was running a women's, in charge of a women's program at a residential facility for years, and so I would see the frustration she would have sometimes, but I'd also see the celebration when she broke through with somebody, or somebody had a breakthrough, and it was like they were able to break those bonds. And I feel like I'm watching one of those today, just because of where you are in your life right now, man. It's good for your soul, good for my soul to see that. And thanks for sharing your story. It's been awesome, and keep on doing that Twitter action, man, because we all need it. We all need the good stuff.
Guys,
yes, we do, brother. Love you, brother. Be safe.
Thank you. Listen, I love you guys, and your friendship truly means a lot. I can't say it enough.